Keep My Office Clean is an emerging leader in providing office cleaning solutions in Morris County and its surrounding area. If you own, rent, or manage corporate space, then you understand that keeping the private and common areas clean and well-maintained helps create a pleasant and productive environment. Keep My Office Clean is one of New Jersey's top emerging cleaning companies, specializing in providing a wide range of services for your office space, including recurrent cleaning, carpet cleaning, floor waxing, power washing, and more. For more information, call 862-263-0626 or visit www.keepmyofficeclean.com.
You are listening to the New Jersey Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around good guy, Paul Blvd. Now, on to the show.
What's shaking, New Jersey? Welcome to another episode of the New Jersey Business Podcast. Today, as special guest, we have Anthony Weinkopff. Anthony is the director and co-founder of Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services. Anthony, thank you very much for accepting the invitation to be a guest on our podcast. I'm very excited about everything that we're going to talk about today because you are in a business that is expanding, and I think that is super exciting. So welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's also it's nice because we do a lot of podcast appearances, but here we are in New Jersey, right, for the New Jersey Business Podcast. So I do hope this brings a little bit of value to your listeners. My name is Anthony Weinkopff. I'm one of the directors and co-founders of Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services. I've been in education for quite some time. Previous to starting Embrace, I was actually an academic dean, teacher. Right, I wore many hats. Right, I've done everything from coaching to advisory, etc. And then I sort of followed my entrepreneurial spirit and decided to take on a new venture, which took on and worked with two really incredible co-founders to launch Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services, and we're actually headquartered right in Chatham, New Jersey. So we do work with students virtually as well as online as various SAT and ACT prep courses around the country. But our homegrown, right, and our headquarters is right located in Chatham, New Jersey. Mm-hmm.
You know, Anthony, I'm interested in knowing. So you were a teacher, right?
Yes, yeah, for quite some time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you own a business prior to Embrace Tutoring?
No, I did not. No, but it's funny you asked that because I've always kind of my friends and I, when we were growing up, we've always had a little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit of thinking about business. And my father was also, he explored various like business ventures. So I've always kind of had that rich dad, poor dad mentality, right? I think just being the product of two really hardworking, driven kind of individuals kind of helped me see the value in it. And if you were creative and sort of going through that, but to tell you the truth, when I got the idea for Embrace, what had happened was that I was actually tutoring. I was privately tutoring a number of students up in northern New Jersey while I was a teacher full time. And, I was tutoring on like nights and weekends, and I won an award for being a National Teacher of the Week. So, so everybody just started kind of, hey, well, Mr. Anthony will be able to tutor you biology or chemistry or mathematics. And many of those individuals started to reach out for subject areas that I didn't feel confident in, but I felt as though there was a hole in the market and there was something that we can kind of create and establish, and also align ourselves to more of a college as well as kind of furthering education, whether it's not college, maybe it's graduate school, maybe it's medical school, maybe it's vocational school, maybe they don't go to college. So we've built Embrace in that way. But long story short, I've always sort of known I was probably going to get pulled into business.
Yeah.
Right. I even minored in business when I was in college. I've always felt like a pull or a kinship to that, but at the same time, I think I was just waiting for the right opportunity for what to pursue.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because I've met people who actually, very interestingly, someone in their family or their parents were either business owners or entrepreneurs. So it's interesting you mentioned that your dad pursued different business ventures. but who left their career um, for, or their full-time job per se, to own their own business. And it's a scary step to take. You were
Yes.
able to take it and do it successfully. So I think that's pretty awesome. And so I was intrigued to know, what was that transition like? Obviously, you have a business now that is solving a problem. You identified that there was a need that needed to be met, and you knew how to meet that need. And so you're doing it. You're doing it very well now. And so I was interested of knowing a little bit about what that transition was like. Do you do it in phases? Do you go all in? What was that like?
That's a really good question. Well, I would say anyone that's even looking to explore and possibly open up their own business, I would absolutely encourage them to go and get their feet wet, right? They really need to explore the industry. They need to surround themselves with smart people. They need to be aware of what is happening in the market and why, and right, and those things. I was blessed. I had a really good network. I knew a number of teachers or a number of educators. I'd been involved in education for years and years before actually pursuing my business. So I had an idea of what was happening in the realm of education, even online education for that matter. I knew where kind of the demand was, but I knew what was really missing was kind of that holistic opportunity, which is what we focus on at Embrace. We do more or less really kind of upscale private tutoring packages where, depending on the amount of hours that individuals enroll in, we will then provide them with a number of features, right, or amenities to that. So let's say you do a 60-hour package for private tutoring. You can use it for you or your brothers or sisters or siblings.
Oh, wow.
You can use it for any academic subject. You can use it for virtual or private. We then will give you like college essay consultations. We'll then give you the ability to come to review sessions for free. We'll then give you, diagnostic testing along the way. So we approach it very, very holistically, where we're tackling all of the students' needs as well as the families' needs, and we're even rolling out things like health and wellness, right, that are built into the packages, as well as financial planning and other elements that we target, and we sort of look at those things as a from a family perspective. But did it come in phases? Yeah. Yeah, right. Was it an overnight success? I would say anything but. And anyone building the business, it's really right. It's going to come in stages. You're going to build a team. You're going to do some sort of proof of concepts, which I'd be happy to elaborate on. You're going to do test after test of what works, right? What's your best marketing strategy? What's your best CRM system, right? Everything's you essentially have to kind of work out the kinks. And then when you work out the kinks, and you have that product or you have that service and like that proof of concept, then it's about maintaining it, right? And then how do you offer scalability? How do you innovate within? How do you build a culture? And that's sort of the levels that we're at now. Mm-hmm.
So in those in those beginning stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're figuring things out, you're implementing new things, right?
Yeah.
At what point, chronologically, from the time you started, do you feel like, hey, this is really good? Like we really have something here that is gonna grow.
That's a good question. So I will tell you, and we can. I mean, to be not a lot of podcasts, to be fair, usually ask us a lot of the hardships. So I'd be happy to elaborate. But usually, in the beginning, everything was very right. We were trying to be as deliberate as possible because we didn't have investors. Many businesses you see these days, a lot of times they'll immediately take on investors or sponsorships or something of that nature. I think we kind of wanted to prove ourselves first and have like a record of sales, and as well as like a proven concept before we even explored that territory. And we've always been fortunate enough to kind of always be cash flow positive. So we've never really needed investors, like even at this time. But a lot of the greatest hardships early on, I would say, were trying to discover who we were, exactly what we want our model to be, what our why was, or really kind of what our purpose was at the end of the day, and how that aligned with our product differentiation, right? Like not only who we were and why we decided to build Embrace, but how is this different, and how is this novel, and how is this really kind of never been done in the educational industry, and then experimenting with that because we don't necessarily have a blank check, right? Every decision we made, we had to be very fiscally responsible with. So we made some mistakes, right, in terms of marketing early on, but then we had a lot of successes. And probably our best initial success was we ran a test prep class. We initially were just doing private tutoring students. We ran a test prep class, and out of that initial test prep class, more than half of the students got perfect or near perfect scores.
Oh, wow.
And that was a huge, we then quickly became victims of our own success because those students then wanted college essay prep or they wanted other needs. So it very quickly expanded from test prep to, let's service every academic subject, to we need more tutors, to we need more facilities, we need more areas, we need sort of we need more space, right? So of just, we need more rooms where tutoring can operate. But yeah, that's sort of one thing that I can think of in terms of major successes. But we've had a lot along the way. Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty cool though. You went to a process of sort of brand discovery, really identifying your brand DNA, what sets you apart from the rest. You mentioned making some marketing mistakes. Can you
yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a little? I feel that as business owners, sometimes we want to grow our business and we make mistakes where we spend money where we don't need to, or we do it the wrong way. Can you share? Maybe we can all learn from that experience.
I'm in like an engineer at heart, and that's what I majored in. So I'll try to be, and I'm very I try to be very concrete and sort of offer bullet lists. So I'm going to be super concrete to your audience. Initially, when you're opening a business, you're going to get contacted by a ton of people, right? There's going to be Yelp, there's going to be various SEO companies, there's going to be someone who wants to build your website, all those things. The one mistake I would say to a lot of people early on is, in order to really separate yourself, if this is something you want to do full time, you need to learn a little bit about a lot of things early on. So you know what questions to ask, who to hire, in what elements, right? Where are you getting your best prospects from in terms of hiring? Where are you getting your prospects from in terms of, marketing? And paying somebody else to sort of figure that out for you early on is, it's not really going to be when you need to sort of, be mindful of your budget and what you're spending money on and how you're doing that to stay cash flow positive. And we've been blessed. We've been profitable literally since day one. And we've been bootstrapped, no investors, right, since that first time. So I would say, to be super pragmatic, teach yourself a little bit of coding, so that way you can build your own just tangible website, right? Squarespace or Wix is a really good resource early on. HTML, CSS also really helps if you have a generic background in basic coding. Surround yourself with really smart people who you can lean on. Networking events are always a good meetup on the app. Actually, I would go to one meetup a week just to force myself to learn how to network and talk to people and sort of sell our company in that elevator pitch in a matter of 30 seconds. Get a basic CRM system or something that you can start to institute, whether it's Google Docs or Insightly. Insightly, I think at the time when we launched was free. Oh God, I feel like there's so many things. It's so much. It's funny because there's so many things. So much easier to start a company now. Like Canva wasn't around when we launched. We had to pay a graphic designer. Right now you have Canva. Now you have Square. Now there's so many social media platforms. Whereas when we were first launching, I think Facebook and Instagram were kind of just, Facebook had been around for a while, but it was kind of transitioning. God, what are some other things? What are some? Spend a lot of time doing team development too. You need to have the hard conversations early on to really figure out what your company's identity is, what your price structure is going to be, why you guys are making those decisions. Avoiding those conversations is not really going to help anyone. So take some time to dive in and grab a coffee or a cocktail, because those are things that you really need to work out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. I feel that as business owners, it's our responsibility to have some knowledge of each field, because when you're hiring people, you need to know if they're doing a good job or not doing a good job, if they're giving you false information or they're giving you good information. So certainly, I totally agree with you, and I also think that as you grow, you kind of place your focus on the who, away from the how. So, for example, I need this project done, right? Who can get it done, right? Who's an expert on that field that can do it, and in this way, it gets done properly. But you have the knowledge to to share your desires in terms of what you're looking for, what your expectations are, and also to be able to say, hey, that's not what I'm looking for. Or when they come back and say, hey, we couldn't do that. No, you should be able to do this and that, etc. So I totally agree with you. And thank you for sharing that. That's valuable information to our audience. Oftentimes we get caught up in making mistakes where either we spend money or either waste money or waste time, right?
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, our most valuable resource is our time. And so we want to protect as much as we can. All right. So I know that you have clients at this stage in your business. You have clients in other parts of the world. And I think that's super cool. Can you talk to me about where you guys are physically and where you guys are virtually? Like what's going on, what's happening with that? I think that's super cool.
Yeah, of course. So we were fortunate that we always try to, I think, believe it or not, I actually think it was Ashton Kutcher. I heard him once say, like, I like to think where the puck is going, not where it is. And that phrase is kind of always stuck with me. So years ago, when we were getting such a, with YouTube, we were getting just such an interest for students across the world. We decided to put out a platform for YouTube. And to tell you the truth, the YouTube was initially for training for the tutors to say, hey, here's a quick, or if we had students like miss a class, we can use it as like a makeup session of some sort. Like, here's a video, let's do it for homework, let's incorporate these things. And slowly but surely that has, we now have over I think almost like several hundred, videos that we've created. And at one point in time, not to go off on this crazy tangent, but at one point in time, we were actually the #1 SAT prep company on TikTok.
Wow.
During COVID. But what I'm really getting at is that we were fortunate to kind of understand what was happening in terms of SEO and the online or the digital presence early on. And we started to train our tutors in that aspect. We started to teach them online, tutoring, various softwares, etc. So when COVID had hit, even as terrible as it was, we were sort of ready for it. We kind of hit the switch, and many of our tutors began to go online, and we were fully prepared to even offer online classes, which we did. And now it's only made us more versatile. Right now, we can offer online classes. We have a full kind of LMS learning system or management software that we use. There's a number of other resources online that we have the capability of using. So that has allowed us to scale nationally as well as internationally. And nationally, we have far more students nationally. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of students nationally, where we have many out in Texas or California. Trying to think, we even have a bunch in Alaska. I think we have like 10 to 15 students individually in Alaska for various packages and whatnot. But internationally, it's very, very big within, I would say, China, Korea, India. We have a number of students. Even London. We have a lot of students in England or across the pond. Maybe if they're studying at like Oxford University. So it just depends. But yeah, they were able to find us through our digital presence more than anything else. Yeah.
So was your growth in terms of finding new clientele organic for the most part, or have you done paid advertising?
No paid advertising.
No paid advertising.
No. So that's actually something I should mention to your team. So yes. This kind of goes back to your question earlier, which is, what are some hardships that we face? And the hardship, I feel like, for a lot of companies early on, which they don't realize, is that it takes a lot longer to do something right and build it as a residual basis. versus I will just use that sales funnel, right? And they will keep feeding me people, like Yelp, for instance, right? Yelp is great, but Yelp is a classic. Here's your sales funnel. The moment you stop compensating that particular funnel for whoever is bringing it to you, and you don't have that organic content where people are finding you naturally through either content you've built, videos you've shared, or informational webinars that you've performed, then the moment you turn that off, all of a sudden the stream stops. So we spent a lot more time early on investing in the organic stream of things, so that way the river never stops, right?
Yeah.
And even though in the beginning it didn't flow nearly as fast as though we were just paying for paid leads, so to speak, we knew long term it was a residual decision of no matter what, I haven't made a TikTok video in almost a year and a half. We still get clients from that. We don't do YouTube videos that often anymore. We still have clients that contact us, Google or Instagram or various other digital marketing means. A lot of what we do is definitely through strong word of mouth and strong referrals.
Right.
If we're talking about students like internationally or even nationally, many of them will find us through one of our social media platforms. Even Quora has been huge, where parents will suggest or they'll write an article on our behalf, and then we will get over 200,000 views or something of that nature, and then it will turn and it will have a lot of fruition for various people contacting us because of some press release or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, obviously referrals are high caliber leads because people already come trusting you. And organic growth is a beautiful thing. Same thing, because if you are putting out the type of content that you're describing, you're not selling, you're just providing value. And when people see the value, they want more. So then they reach out to you already pretty much sold, just for watching the value that they receive. And I think paid advertising does its purpose, particularly when you own the leads, when you own the data, like when you use a third-party service, like say Yelp or whatever, Angie's List, whatever industry you're in. You don't own the leads, and it costs you a lot of money. When you're running your own paid advertising, when you're capturing all the information, the cool thing about it is, it's something you could dial up, dial down, depending on where you need it. But the best place to be in is where you guys are, right? Organic growth, using, putting yourself out there and having the patience and persistence, that it will bear fruit in time, because oftentimes in the beginning, it's not much that comes from that, but it's only through persistence and perseverance that you could see the fruit of that. So I think, I applaud you guys. I think that's pretty awesome that you've been able to build such a successful business organically.
It's very similar. I mean, it's someone was mentioning one time about the like owning a vineyard, right? You're kind of like planning, everything there is to know about wine, but you don't get to taste it until years later. And that's the hard part for a lot of people when they first start opening businesses, is that they're doing things for an immediate need, and you do have to pay for the lights. I absolutely understand that, but we eventually reached a point as a company where we said, look, we're going to stop paying for the basic, sales funnels coming to us, and instead we're going to invest long term, so that way we can also better ourselves and think kind of where things are going to go. And we've been very blessed in that sense. And it's also allowed us to innovate and kind of think a little bit ahead for where things are going to go, and sort of open up the doors for other possibilities. And right now we're launching another facility into Princeton. That's brick and mortar, right? We have our headquarters up in Chatham, but we're also considering, okay, well now, because of the model that we have, we can literally open up in any in any city that we want to, and that's not an issue. And we have all the processes and systems kind of already aligned, and it just makes it easy because we spend a lot of time putting the piping in, so to speak, right? And especially the marketing. So
Yes, I think that's such a great example, folks. you're listening to Anthony. He's built a business where he's created a system and the processes that's helped him be scalable and it's something repeatable, because he could go and do it somewhere else. As he's going to be, they're going to be opening a new facility in Princeton because they already have the blueprint per se of what needs to be done, and that only could be accomplished by working on your business more than you're working in your business. You know?
Yeah, and to that end, Paul, it also, a lot of it goes really to my co-founders or my business partners as well as our team, right? Because it's very hard to scale, right? One, if you don't have the right type of people and sort of sharing that collection of ideas. But it's also even harder to scale when your home base is under duress, right? The only time you're really ever thinking about expanding is when, oh, well, everything at home is great, so let me go buy another home, right? So we've been really blessed to have phenomenal tutors who have been with us for years. We have a very good curriculum. We have a very good system. One of my business partners, Andy, is sort of the systems guru. Suzanne is kind of the client relations guru, and she has a very good relationship with many of our families even till this day. So because of their efforts and because of the tutors, we've been in a position to even kind of think bigger. But for many people, you're right. It's tough. It's tough to get there because it's hard to think about what could be when you have so many other daily, that occupies your time and your focus. And if you're just constantly fixing problems on a daily basis, you never really get a chance to sort of, window shop for what could happen. And we've just been blessed that we kind of think long term.
Anthony, I really appreciate all the value that you're bringing. Our time is almost coming to a close, but I'd like to ask you to please join us for another episode, because I want to hear about how do you get this talent? How do you get those tutors, those team members? What is the method that you're using in order to attract the right people? What are you doing to create culture and maintain the right people? Also, what are the values that you have in your business? I have so many more questions for you. So please, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Will you accept another invitation to be in the podcast?
Yeah, I'd love to. We're educators at heart, right? So anything that we can share to help your audience potentially dodge a few of those landmines that we just had to go through and hit. It would honestly, it'd be my pleasure. And this has been great. You guys have been phenomenal. I really have enjoyed sort of listening to the blurbs and the podcasts, that you guys offer. I think you guys are bringing a lot of value. So I really appreciate you having me on. I'd love to be back.
Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate you once again. Folks, there you have it. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, go to NewJerseyBusinessPodcast.com. That's NewJerseyBusinessPodcast.com. We can't wait to hear from you and your business. You can also visit our website to learn about sponsorship opportunities and how to qualify for a complimentary gift. Thanks again for listening to the New Jersey Business Podcast.
Keep My Office Clean is an emerging leader in providing office cleaning solutions in Morris County and its surrounding area. If you own, rent, or manage corporate space, then you understand that keeping the private and common areas clean and well-maintained helps create a pleasant and productive environment. Keep My Office Clean is one of New Jersey's top emerging cleaning companies, specializing in providing a wide range of services for your office space, including recurrent cleaning, carpet cleaning, floor waxing, power washing, and more. For more information, call 862-263-0626 or visit www.keepmyofficeclean.com.